It is Thursday, October 20th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Thursday puzzle today, which means something will be interesting, complex, clever, elusive about the theme. I don't know, we'll have to see. And this, so what did I say? Interesting, complex, clever, or elusive edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Kathleen Quinn, Cortidiophile, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Shulmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for bringing us this edition of the Daily Solve. And if you'd like to become one of them, a benefactor, and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. And of course, if you then become, well, not then, but if you instead become a backer at any level whatsoever, you will also get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And thank you so much to everybody who is a patron at any level. Your support is incredibly valuable and much appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Do also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've not done so yet, and consider joining the Daily Solve Discord chat community. You can find that in a link in the description field underneath the video, where you can also find a link to the Patreon campaign. And I'm going to move on to the puzzle. I know I've said this a few times this week, but it is unfortunately true again. I'm on a pretty limited time scale today, so I don't have much time to solve this puzzle. And it's a Thursday puzzle, so that's potentially worrisome. We'll have to see. Anyway, this Thursday crossword was constructed by Rebecca Goldstein, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. It's a Thursday puzzle, so it will have a theme, and that theme might connect to some kind of interesting mechanic or hidden property. I can already see a dash here on the grid, which often means, it could mean this clue continues on from the, yeah, it looks like it probably does, from this clue, or it could mean it's just related in some other way to the theme. Anyway, we'll come back to it. Smart TV brand. What is a smart television brand? I'm not sure what that... They're shared by twins. A birthday? Oh no, they're shared by twins. They're shared by twins. Is there a three-letter word for a birthday? Chapter after chapter. Not sure. Occur, happen, maybe? I mean, that might be too obvious. Let's look at the downs. Blackjack. Yeah, blackjack choice. You could say hit to request another card in blackjack. U.S. Open winner of 1994 and 1999. I mean, I don't know this by year, but just with an A in this many letters, I'm wondering if it's Andre Agassi, maybe? Hawaiian word meaning hors d'oeuvre. Hawaiian word meaning hors d'oeuvre. Is it a poo-poo as in poo-poo platter? I didn't know that was actually the meaning of that word, even though I've ordered that item before. I don't know. Let's look at this. This looks like it could be iguana or something. That would make it probably not a continuation of ethical gray area, I don't think. I don't know of a phrase involving iguana. Let's see if this can work. A tablet, a pane? I don't know. That doesn't sound very good. Citation abbreviation, et al. Okay, well that doesn't, if that's true, this doesn't look like iguana anymore, does it? Part of a UN address. Part of a UN address. Part of a United Nations address. Question marks. There's some kind of pun or wordplay. Let's see if we can infer any of these. Tarnish. To tarnish is to sully, to soil, to mar. Tablet. Oh, a pill, not a tablet. I was thinking a tablet as in a sort of slab or a pane, like I said, which isn't really a tablet. But there we go. So what is going on here? This does not look like... I mean, I guess poo-poo could be wrong. No, sully is correct. Well, I don't know. This all feels correct, basically. Here's what we should do. Oh, I've got a plan. I don't have one for solving this crossword. So part of a UN... Oh, is it New York, New York? Because the actual physical United Nations building in New York City is what this is referring to. That's very clever. Ingenuity? No. What is this? Oh, sorry, ethical ambiguity. Oh, ambiguity. ethical gray area, moral ambiguity. So is there sort of an invisible limb inside this black cell for moral ambiguity? I think that's probably what's going on here. Limb. Okay, so we'll need to find other places where we can put limb, or maybe something else like branch or bough if we're referring to a tree, or arm or legs or something, although that would be kinds of limbs rather than another word for limb. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think that's what's going on with this clue. I think there's an implied limb rebus sort of written into this black cell that we cannot ourselves enter. Chapter after chapter. Page? Why is that? Don't know if that's right. They're shared by twins. Oh no, what if this ends with S? Oh, saga. Chapter after chapter, a sort of long story. End of a presidential address. Well, that would be gov as in .gov, a government URL, website URL. Oh, they're shared by twins' ages, of course. They have the same age. Okay, if you're standing upright, you're standing erect. And a Mustang or Impala, those are models of car. And it's an or, so we're just referring to either one of them. Italian auto with a bull in its logo. Oh, it's not limb, it's lamb. Sorry. Well, that was weird that I said limb. Moral limbiguity? I don't know what I was thinking there. Apologies. Because this is Lamborghini, the Italian auto with a bull in its logo. Okay, so there we go. So it's a lamb. So we could have other animal types. We could have other meat types, I suppose. We could have, that seems likely, or just the word lamb in other cells. Sorry about that whole limb thing. One might keep you on the right track for short. GPS, Global Positioning System or satellite. Accessory for Hello Kitty. So now I have to worry, I have to be suspicious that anywhere I look that abuts a black cell, there could be a lamb inside of it or something else. A wok is a pan. Okay, so no lamb in that cell. Accessory for Hello Kitty. Oh, a hair bow? Right, Hello Kitty has a little red hair bow, I think. Notorious Justice in brief. So this is Ruth, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, sometimes referred to as the Notorious RBG. Familial outcast depicted 3 times in this puzzle. Right. Black sheep. Right, there we go. Okay. So either we'll have 2 more lambs or we'll have other words for sheep. We could have ewe or sheep, or, I mean, sheep is here, so we probably won't, but we'll have to see. Greek spirit. I'm not sure. Small songbird, a wren, and portrait mode feature. Blur? Is that it must be a camera feature, portrait mode on your camera, it must be. Not sure exactly what that is referring to. What sort of blur that means? Maybe blurring the background? Word with star or navel. Stargazing or navel gazing. Two phrases. Oh, a Greek spirit, ouzo. So spirit as in a distilled spirit. I was thinking a spirit in religious or supernatural sense, but no. Okay, so non-pro is con. If you aren't for something, you're against it, or at least that's one way to classify things. And so that is indeed blur there. Eponym for an annual prize for American humor, the Twain Prize for Mark Twain, the author of Huckleberry Finn and other works. Internet service provider whose name is now stylized with a period. Oh, AOL, I think. AOL's... I wonder, is AOL even still actually an internet service provider, or are they... Maybe they're an internet service provider in another way, not in the sense that they provide internet access, but rather they simply provide services on the internet in the way that, I don't know, Google does or something. Big time. An eon, right? A large quantity of time. Some small Scots. Weons or... I mean, I guess it'll end with an S. Not sure what else that's looking for. Oh, right. Of course. What was I thinking? I don't need to be suspicious that anywhere I look, abutting a black cell could be a theme answer, because the continuing one, the one that's split by the cell, will have one of these dashes, of course. So that means this is a slice of brie. A cheese wedge? Yeah, there we go. And because you is trapped in there, that's pretty appropriate, given you could have sheep's cheese, I suppose. So, yes, all right. So we had a lamb, a ewe, so we will have another different one. It could be, what, I don't know, a ram or a sheep. Okay, cousin of a carp. I assume this will be another fish. Not sure offhand. Tennis's Mandlikova. Not sure. Divisions of history are eras. And actor Idris is Idris Elba. Fat in Indian cooking, ghee, clarified butter, so butter without the milk solids. Okay, Mideast royal is an emir. Hobbyist's purchase could be what? What might a hobbyist purchase? Many things, not sure. They're found in brackets. Terms? Oh, teams, maybe. Teams. In a tournament bracket. There we go. Toward El Atlántico from Cuba. Este, is that correct in Spanish? As I say, about once a week at this point. I need to learn some Spanish. Hobbyists purchase. A kit. You could buy a hobby kit of some sort. And arrival declaration could be, I'm here. Okay, so that does look right, actually, which is nice. Okay. Dance move named after a Manhattan neighborhood. Oh, so Harlem is a Manhattan neighborhood. And the Harlem Shake was something. I think it was two different things. It was one thing and then it sort of became a different thing. About 10 years ago, maybe, it became the other thing. Anyway, Harlem in, up north, uptown in Manhattan. Okay, cousin of a carp. And Tennis's Mendlica. Okay, right. So what am I doing in this area? What about this one? Oh, right. Here's the other. Right, of course, because the cheese wedge has a U in it, so this will as well. Don't I know you from somewhere? Have we met? There we go. Yes. Have we met containing that U? It's sort of hard to visualize these, but I'm sure you see what I mean. Actress Mendez. Oh, right. Ava or Eva Mendez? Not sure which. Is it Ava Mendez spelled this way? We lads, some small Scots. There we go. We lads, we lasses, etc. Okay. List on, so Scots, in this case, referring to Scots English. List on Craigslist, say. Oh, you could resell something by listing it on Craigslist. And if you're not qualified to do something, you're unable to do it. I should have looked at that earlier when I was over here. Dark volcanic rock. Is basalt a dark volcanic rock? Tennis's Mandlikova. Hana Mandlikova, I suppose. And a cousin of a carp is a chub. Yeah, that all seems pretty reasonable. Laughs could be ha-has, I suppose. And like the bunny slope is the tamest ski slope, I guess. Your song singer Rita Ora, I've certainly heard of. And here we haven't looked at this. Prefix meaning sun is helio, as in heliocentric model of the solar system. Okay, you could be a flight risk, I suppose, if you've, I don't know, been accused of a crime and it's considered you might flee. Coral Sea, there we go. And what else? Sinus doc could be, so the doc shortening of doctor indicates we will be shortening the answer as well, abbreviating it in some way. And here we have ENT, and ear, nose, and throat doctor. Part of what makes you you. Could be your ego. Part of what makes you you. Does that work with the crosses? November, Alpha, Tango, Oscar. NATO in the NATO alphabet. There we go. The International Radio alphabet. Not the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is that pronunciation guide thing. Okay. Comic book onomatopoeia could be pow, so it's meant to indicate the sound of someone hitting another person, for instance. And if you put something away securely, you stow it, for instance, on an aircraft or a ship or something. All right. Sisterly could be sororal, relating to sisters. And if one isn't oneself, oneself. What is that getting at? There's a question mark, so it doesn't literally mean, it doesn't mean you aren't feeling yourself, for instance, because the question mark means some kind of pun. We're reading this in a different way, but I'm not sure what way that is yet. Manhattan neighborhood next to Tribeca. Is it NoHo or Soho? North of Houston Street or south of Houston Street? Place for a spiritual retreat. Oh, it's Soho because this could be an ashram. So it is a ram. Okay. So my suspicion that we weren't going to repeat the word sheep in the black cells because we've already used it in our revealer here, black sheep, was correct. So this is an ashram, and that means, oh, I guess I could have known, right, I could have seen that this was a dashed answer and known that this cell would have been a sheep containing one. So anyway, sandwich order specification. This will have a ram in it. Something about mayo. Bar mixer. Soda. You could have a, scotch and soda or something. So I bet this is mayo. I bet the M is referring to mayonnaise. Place for swimming lessons in form, well, M is not itself referring to mayonnaise, but forming part of the word referring to mayonnaise. I'm sure you saw what I meant there. Place for swimming lessons informally. Isn't oneself. As is? Why would that be the case? Asks. Isn't oneself? Asks. Place for swimming lessons informally. Oh, the Y, the YMCA. There we go. So the Y, often used as an abbreviation for the YMCA, itself an abbreviation for Young Men's Christian Association. So it's sort of community center, rec center, often in urban areas. So could be a place for swimming lessons. And then isn't oneself. Why is this? I might have something wrong. Let's keep looking around. Comedian with the 2014 humor book, Yes Please. Don't know. Okay, I could have. I feel as though I may have something wrong in that little segment over there. If you're in the thick of something, you're amidst it. James, who sang "How Strong Is a Woman," the great Etta James, and accept as all. If you eat a loss, you accept it. Complete series, maybe a box set, which here in the UK is used it's used to refer to basically any full run of a television program, even if it's just on streaming or whatever else, whereas I don't really know that that's used in that way in the United States. But maybe this clue suggests that's becoming the case. I don't know. I've never seen it that way, but very common in the UK. Sandwich order specification, extra mayo. Not a manner in which I would order my sandwiches, but fair enough. So ram, extra mayo, that works perfectly fine. That doesn't change anything about this just yet. Oh, Amy Poehler, maybe this could be? So not soda, but cola, there we go, as in a rum and coke. There we go. So isn't oneself acts, I see, you literally are portraying somebody else who is not yourself. Okay. That is fine. And this is Amy Poehler, a comedian. Wasn't aware of that book, but her name is recognizable enough that it worked out. Called balls, say. Umpired in a baseball game, for instance. And so you called a ball, which is what? When the batter intentionally doesn't swing for the pitch because the pitch was going to be invalid? It's going to be unacceptable? Is that basically right? I think that's basically correct. Okay, a dude is a guy, one of many on a starfish, an arm, I suppose. And tagliatelle topper could be a ragu, so a sauce that you might sauce that particular pasta shape, tagliatelle. And then smart TV brand. Oh, is it RCA? Do they make smart? I guess everybody sort of makes smart TVs now, so I'm not sure what distinguishes that from other TV. I suppose there are TVs that aren't smart ones, but that seems common enough that I don't know that RCA feels like a very particular way that would be clued. But anyway, that's just a very minor nitpick. Morsel in Hansel and Gretel's path, a crumb, the breadcrumbs that they dropped, and there we go. that was the Thursday crossword. All right, so that ended up being solvable in a reasonable amount of time. So that was a bit of a relief, I have to say. And let's just review our theme here. So our theme was around the concept of a black sheep, a familial outcast. And we have depicted that black sheep 3 times in this puzzle in a rebus sort of way, where we have an actual sheep contained in a black cell, so a black cell representing that sheep. And in this case, we have a lamb creating a moral ambiguity and a Lamborghini. We had, what else did we have? I find these black sheep. They're camouflaged black sheep. No. Where on earth were they? Well, I remember this one because I just did it. So we had our ashram and our extra mayo, and then we had one more. And where was it? Here it was. We had our U trapped inside, our cheese wedge, and our inquiry, have we met? So there we go. That was very clever. Oops. And let me know how you fared with that theme. I would imagine if you've never encountered something like this before, it could be incredibly difficult, because why would, if you just genuinely never encountered this sort of thing in a crossword before, why on earth would you imagine that this is how you would solve it? By imaginarily sort of writing some letters into a grid that by virtue of its fill cannot be written into, at least not with ordinary pens, and certainly not with this software. Anyway, yeah, I am curious how people fared with this. It was a tricky one, but I enjoyed it, and I like when you get these sort of rebus situations with a different fill, so you can't just immediately go ahead and assume exactly what the fill's going to be. You have to think about it a bit with respect to the theme. So anyway, I enjoyed that. Well done, Rebecca Goldstein. I thought that was a fun Thursday puzzle, and certainly lived up to the Thursday tradition of, I don't remember what I said at the beginning, interesting or clever or complex or surprising, whatever it was, theme ideas. So thank you for that. And now let's see if I can just, oh boy, I'm going to have to do this quickly. Review a few things from yesterday's puzzle. I may not do all of the corrections, but I did definitely want to, did I delete my Photos app from my phone on accident? What on earth did I do? It's not here. That's incredibly annoying. I must have removed it from my home screen without realizing it. That was not intentional. Anyway, the theme in yesterday's puzzle was something called a Tom Swiftie, and I wasn't familiar with this, and that explains, I was wondering why all of the quotations were attributed to this person, Tom. And Sam, aka Frisco17, says, this is a classic form of pun called a Tom Swiftie, which is always formatted like the themed entries in the grid, hence Tom. And by this, Frisco17 means that they're formatted with this sort of punny way of communicating how the fictional Tom said the thing, and they said it in a way that punnily refers to the actual subject matter of their statement. And Kathleen Quinn explains further from the New York Times wordplay column, this is a type of wordplay in which a quotation is attributed to the fictional Tom Swift along with an adverb that puns on the quotation. So that's a more eloquent way of saying what I just said. A classic example given by Merriam-Webster is, I can't find the oranges, said Tom fruitlessly. And this apparently derives from a book series, a sort of in the vein of the Hardy Boys, or that sort of, I guess, I don't know, middle grade book maybe? Is that what those are? And apparently the author, the putative author, I don't know, maybe it was a group of people, had this compunction that they would always avoid using the word said, so they would find, in some cases, increasingly tortured ways to find other ways to indicate how characters said things, and that led to the development of this pun format, essentially. And there we go. All right, and there's one other thing I wanted to mention that several people pointed out, including, for instance, Stephen Giblin, who said, Al-Anon is not Alcoholics Anonymous. Rather, it is a separate community providing support for friends or families of alcoholics whose lives have been impacted by alcoholism. And it is not an abbreviation, it's the full, it obviously derives from Alcoholics Anonymous, but it in itself is the full name of the organization. And TTT asked a question that I had as well, and I'll need to look this up afterwards when I have some time. Because the clue referred to the 12 steps, and I would have assumed the 12 steps was specific to AA itself, to Alcoholics Anonymous itself, rather than an organization pertaining to its friends or families of people in AA, and TTT had the same question. So I'll need to look that up because I don't know the answer to it. Anyway, I'm going to skip the rest of the corrections. I don't think there were many, but I'm going to claim as much time as I can get. So thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Daily Solve. Thanks for joining me for this tricky Thursday puzzle, and I'll be back tomorrow for the Friday puzzle when we will dispense with these themes entirely and simply solve a crossword. And that's that. So I hope you join me then, but until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.